Don't worry, be happy.
Don't worry, be happy. Now, I love the be happy part, but the challenge is with that gorgeous song, and it's a beautiful song. But when I say to you, don't worry, what does your human brain do with that? If you say to your child, don't do that, what happens? If I say to myself, don't eat that, what happens inside my brain? And I use the example of the Google search engine. If you type in don't travel or don't buy a car or don't go to a restaurant or don't sex, that's probably not a good idea, that one, because the Google search engine doesn't understand the word don't. It doesn't make any sense. So it just searches for everything that comes after don't. Is it possible that our human brain does it a little bit differently? Because if we hear the word don't, could it be almost like a challenge to our brain? Oh, she said don't, so maybe I'm going to try and find a way to do it. And I use the kids as an example. Don't do that. And it's almost like, well, I'm going to do that because mum and dad said I shouldn't, or don't. So when we look at the vocabulary that we use for our life, are we aware of what happens when we use certain words? So if I say don't, is it possible that my brain and my body doesn't understand that? So it just does whatever comes after that. If I say to my human brain, maybe, eventually, hopefully, what does it do with that time frame? There's nothing specific about that. So if I want to achieve something, should I say to myself, on this particular day or this exact day, date and time is when I'm going to do it, versus eventually, hopefully, maybe? If I say to myself, I can't do that, yes, my brain will believe me because I've told my brain you can't do that. What if I change that vocabulary to how can I? What if we decided from this day forward, if you haven't already, to become a positive person, to become somebody that looks for the positive words, the positive vocabulary to be able to put into everybody's life. And even if you just spend one day doing this, and maybe don't even do one day because you'll end up with having a really crappy day. 1 hour, listen to social media, the news, read the newspaper, listen to people's words, their vocabulary, just for 1 hour, and see how much positivity you hear, you see, you experience versus negativity. Something as simple as, how are you? And how many times have you heard terrible, awful, stressed, wish it was Friday, could be better, even the one not too bad, which to me just means I'm bad but not too bad. It seems that we've got into this downward spiral, this negative vocabulary of looking for yuck stuff rather than yummy stuff. We look for the bad, the worst, the ugly versus the positive. Now, I can't change what the world's doing, but I'm on a constant conscious, and this is a really important word there. If you become unconscious about this, you just start using everybody's words. And the reason we know that is if you live with a certain group of people, regardless of their language or their vocabulary or their swear words or whatever, if you spend, and I'll rephrase, if we spend time with people, the people that we spend the most time with will have the most effect on our life, including our vocabulary. So if you're hanging out with people, if you're listening to social media, if you're listening to the news, if you're reading the newspaper, if you're listening to the radio and all you hear is negative, 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 subconsciously we start using those same words. And I always use this example because it's pretty funny. I lived in Belgium, in Europe, for a couple of years. And for one of those years, I lived in a house there was 2 of us from Australia, 2 from the UK. One guy was from South Africa, 1 was from New Zealand, and 1 was from America. So we all spoke English, but obviously in a different way. But the strongest accent in that house was the 2 people that were from the UK. They had really strong Cockney accents. And we all went home from that experience speaking like, when I got home, people thought I was English, that I was literally an English person. And what happened to you? You sound like a Cockney English person. Because for 1 whole year, that's the vocabulary and the words and the pronunciation and it was the strongest in the house. So that's what we all went home sounding the same. I've become very aware of that because maybe that doesn't matter. You know, I sound like a Cockney even though I was an Australian at the time. But ultimately, I don't want somebody else or my environment or the radio or the newspaper or the government or anybody to control the way I think. And this is why this is so important, because our words, which we have control over, are our thoughts, which we have control over, which then create our actions, which then create our results. Now, that's not some airy-fairy, wacko motivational chat I've just given you. Whatever I say to my own brain, it will do it. So that's why I'm really careful with the word can't, because if I say that I can't, my brain will believe me. Is it possible that yours will too? I can't do that, so I don't. And my brain will give me all the reasons why I can't do it. Versus how can I do it? Now I've opened my brain up to think differently. I'll go back to don't worry. If I say to you, don't worry, that's usually the reason why we start worrying. If somebody says, oh, don't worry, haha. The word don't can be very powerful in a negative way. So why do we use it? The word can't is very powerful in a negative way. There's so many words that we put into our headspace, into our thought patterns, that have a negative effect on the way we live our life. And I just don't want to do that to myself. And I'm asking you, if you are, and I always use these examples, if you're a parent, a teacher, a coach, a boss, a leader, and people are looking at you for inspiration, for positivity, for motivation, because a lot of people don't have their own. I would love everybody to be self-motivated, self-inspired, self-educated, self-disciplined, and live their life in an amazing way. But how would our kids know how to do that if they don't have a living, breathing example of that in their life? So if you have kids, for example, in your life and you're always using negative words, it's cloudy today. I would call this a platinum day today. Silver lining, the sun is always shining above the clouds, but people don't say that. Even the news report, and this is why I don't watch the news, today's called partly cloudy or mostly cloudy. Why can't we say partly sunny? Why do we say partly cloudy? Why is it that everything that comes out of people's mouths, it seems to be directed towards negativity? And maybe that's because the news is negative, radio reporting is negative, newspaper headlines are negative. And as I always share, in the defense of those negative headlines and the negative news, is that humans don't listen to positivity. It's like if the news was all happy, happy, rah-rah, people wouldn't watch it. It's like people are intrigued by murder and accidents and global financial crisis and worldwide pandemic and crisis and ugly and horrific and terrible. It seems that we are attracted to those words. Well, I don't want to live in a world like that. Look where I live. I live out in the country in the South Island of New Zealand, surrounded by snow-capped mountains and tractors that don't talk. And I'm really, really aware of negative words and negative statements and putting negativity into my life. I don't want it. Now, again, I can't control what other humans do. I just don't think it's fair for our kids to be bombarded with that every day if there is an option. And of course there is an option. We could say, I feel terrible, or we could say, I'm getting better. We could say, I feel sick, or we could say, I'm having a great challenge at the moment. My immune system is fighting this germ, bug or virus, and I'm winning. We could say it's a terrible day, or we could say there's free water coming out of the sky. We could say don't do that, or we could say how can we do that? We could say I can't afford that, or we could say how can I afford it? Don't and can't versus can and do. Don't and can't versus can and do. Do we have a choice? And I think we do. I'm really aware of the words that I use because I'm really aware of the effect that they have on my brain. I get to choose my words. Nobody else tells me what to say. Nobody else can tell me what to think. They're my choice. Could they be your choice too? So if you want to have a positive, happy life, is it possible that we've got to put positive, happy things into our life? So songs like Don't Worry, Be Happy, wouldn't it be nice if the song was just be happy, be happy, be happy? And that's one of my favourite songs. I made it up. I'm going to sing it to you because it makes my life better. But it's also the entire Max program at the International Colleges for Exercise Professionals. That's a college to create people who are positive and happy and excited about life, and who want to help people to be healthy, fit and strong, and want to have a career that they love, want to be financially free, and want to have great people in their life. That's what I do. That's the Max Colleges. And this song is the Max College program in a simple little song. And there's only 5 verses. Goes like this. Be happy, be happy, be happy. Not if or when, just choose to be happy right now regardless. Second verse. Drink more water till you've got clear wheeze. Drink more water till you've got clear wheeze. Drink more water till you've got clear wheeze. Because obviously if you want your brain to work effectively, you've got to have a hydrated brain. The next one is eat more real food, eat more real food, eat more real food, eat more real food. Wouldn't it be a good idea if instead of eating highly processed food that's got a whole heap of crap in it that we don't know what it is, to eat some more food? Not all food, but most of our food stuff that it's actually real food and it comes out of the ground, or it comes from animals that eat out of the ground, something like that. Next verse is no words required for that verse, because that's simply get puffed, be fit, get puffed to be fit, so your body is a high performance machine. And the last verse is be strong, because of course the world's going to throw stuff at us, and if we choose to be strong, is it possible that we'll be able to handle everything better? So the song goes like this. We'll do 3 of each. Be happy, be happy, be happy, and drink more water till you've got clear wheeze. Drink more water till you've got clear wheeze. Drink more water till you've got clear wheeze. Eat more real food, eat more real food, eat more real food. Get puffed and be strong, be strong. Positive words, positive songs, positive environment. People say to me, Rowie, you can't be happy, happy, happy all the time. But what if you chose to be? Even if there's tough times and crappy times and horrible things happen, could we choose to look for the positive? Could we choose to become better and stronger and wiser because of everything that happens to us? Could that be a choice? Or do we choose don't and can't? Or could we choose can and do? Choice. Be happy, be happy, be happy. Be happy. Thank you for coming to Romax. My name's Rowie and I'd love you to live your life to the max. Woohoo!